published 1207 Est, 14 December 2017, updated 1520 Est, 14 December 2017. The U.S. ambassador to the UN stood in front of what she said Thursday is an Iran-made missile fired at a civilian target to accuse the country of violating international law by arming Yemeni rebels. Nikki Haley said U.S. experts had concluded that the missile fired by Houthi rebel forces towards Saudi Arabia's capital's civilian airport was made in Iran. Supplying such weapons was a breach of sanctions imposed on the Islamic Republic, she said, and warned that the U.S. was building a coalition against Tehran. "You will see us build a coalition to really push back against Iran and what they're doing," she said. She spoke at a military hangar at Joint Base AnacostiaBolling just outside of Washington, where the U.S. Defense Department put the fragments of weaponry on display and explained how it concluded that they came from Iran. The arms included charred remnants of what the Pentagon said was an Iranian-made short-range ballistic missile fired from Yemen on November 4 at King Khalid International Airport outside Saudi Arabia's capital Riyadh, as well as a drone and an anti-tank weapon recovered in Yemen by the Saudis. Iran has denied supplying the Houthis with such weaponry. Accusation. Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, spoke in front of what she said was an Iran-made missile to level a charge of supplying illegal weapons at the Tehran regime claim. U.S. Department of Defense says it has confirmed this is a QIAM ballistic missile manufactured in Iran. It numbered the 9 fueling ports, which it says are distinctive signs of Iranian-manufactured anile. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani met Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Wednesday in Istanbul. On Thursday, his UN delegation said the missile was fabricated. A kamikaze drone is seen on display after U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley unveiled previously classified information intending to prove Iran violated UNSCR 2231 by providing the Houthi rebels in Yemen with arms during a press conference at Joint Base Anacostia in Washington, D.C., on December 14, 2017. A magnifying glass shows a part of the guidance system to an Iranian QIAM ballistic missile, the jet vane housing from a missile that the U.S. Department of Defense says is a QIAM ballistic missile manufactured in Iran, but that the Pentagon says was fired by Houthi rebels from Yemen into Saudi Arabia in 2017, shows a SBI logo that appears to be from Iranian arms manufacturer Shahid Bagheri Industries. Iran's mission to the United Nations said in a statement that the accusation by the United States was irresponsible, provocative and destructive. These accusations seek also to cover up for the Saudi war crimes in Yemen, with a U.S. complicity, and divert international and regional attention from the stalemate war of aggression against the Yemenis. The statement said, the U.S. has long believed that Iran is providing weaponry to proxies and partners and militias throughout the region, and what we have here to show you today is proof, said Pentagon spokeswoman Laura Seal, adding Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates had recovered the arms and loaned them to Washington. Saudi forces, which back the Yemeni government, have been fighting the Iranian-led Houthis in Yemen's more than 2-year-long civil war. The unprecedented presentation by the Pentagon is part of its follow-through on President Donald Trump's new Iran policy, which promises a far harder line toward Tehran. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, was due to see the weapons on Thursday. The U.S. mission to the United Nations said she would offer irrefutable evidence that Iran has deliberately violated its international obligations under a UN resolution that enshrines the Iran nuclear deal with world powers. Tehran is prohibited from supplying, selling or transferring weapons outside the country unless approved in advance by the UN Security Council. A separate UN resolution on Yemen bans the supply of weapons to Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi and others. Katie Wheelbagger, Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs, acknowledged that there could be implications of such an accumulation of evidence against Iran, to include sanctions. You could see future sanctions. But the first step is at least to bring awareness and understanding and to have a similar picture of what we're looking at, Wheelbagger said. The Pentagon offered a detailed explanation of all of the reasons why it believed the arms came from Iran, noting Iranian corporate logos on arms fragments and the unique nature of the designs of Iranian weaponry. That included the designs of short-range QIAM ballistic missiles. The Pentagon said it had obtained fragments of 2 QIAM missiles. One fired on November 4 against the airport and another fired on July 22. The Pentagon cited corporate logos of Iranian defense firms on jet vanes that help steer the missiles' engine and on the circuit board helping drive its guidance system. It also said the missile's unique wall design was only found in Iran. But a civil war, the Houthi rebels in Yemen are backed by Iran while the government is being supported by a Saudi coalition in what is seen as a proxy war. Yemen is by far the poorest country on the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi advance forces backed by Saudi air power have been making significant advances in Yemen against Houthi rebels, but Iran is accusing the wealthy Gulf state of war crimes in its poor neighbor. Iran, it said, appeared to have tried to cover up the shipment by disassembling the missile for transport, given crude welding used to stitch it back together. The point of this entire display is that only Iran makes this missile. They have not given it to anybody else, Seal said. We haven't seen this in the hands of anyone else except Iran and the Houthis. A new UN report found that the July 22 and November 4 missiles fired at Saudi Arabia by Yemen's Houthi rebels appeared to have a common origin. But the report said UN officials were still investigating US and Saudi claims that Iran supplied them. The Pentagon put on display other weapons with designs it said were unique to Iran's defense industry. It pointed to a key component of a TOW-OFF anti-tank guided missile and a small drone aircraft, both of which were recovered in Yemen. It also showed components of a drone-like navigation system like the one the Pentagon says was used by the Houthis to ram an exploding boat into a Saudi frigate on January 30. The United Arab Emirates seized the system in late 2016 in the Red Sea. What makes these exploding boats so dangerous is not just that they can explode. It's that they have a guidance system that allows them to track and hit a moving target without an operator on board, Seal said. This computer system here represents that navigational system.